What is this voice?
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 9 of the SimStation Internet Football Podcast. I'm your host, Travioli Prime. As always, still the same person. Very sick. Well, I'm getting over it now, but the last few days have been a little rough. Really depressing week of football. You know, everything's great. Joined always by my constant co-host, Alec Wyatt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm chilling. We're on a 4-game win streak now, so we're on a bit of a heater. Hopefully I can continue it this week against our new number 1, Mr.
I'm sure there will be a
Overlord
lot of
himself.
That's right.
Over the Overlord this week. And our guest for the first time on the podcast, the best bloodline of all time, it's Alex Johns. What's up, buddy?
It's your boy Banegulwud, manager of the Banegulwud Ballers. Coming off a 3-win streak here on the pod.
It'd be very weird if someone besides Banegulwud was the manager of Banegulwud's Ballers, but you know,
That's right.
that's just.
Just want to make that clear.
Reeves is the manager of Dalton's Army of Children. So.
Exactly. Come on.
That's true.
It's confusing.
And you know, Becca's picture is Trump. Like, who even knows at this point?
True.
I still look at Dalton's, or I still look at that team that has
Dalton. At Reeves and thinks it's Dalton.
Yeah,
every time.
It throws me off so
every single time.
Fucking annoying. All right, well, we had a pretty crazy week of games. High scoring AF.
Dude, it was lit.
10 teams over 100 points. What stood out to you guys the most from last week?
There were, I think it was 5 skill position players with 3 touchdowns in 1 week.
There was like 6 players over 30 points.
It was insane.
Going on?
People, they heard everybody talking about how this year's been low scoring, and they were like, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've stayed pretty much low scoring all year, so I can't speak too much to that. But there were some great matchups this week. I'm just happy.
You were in the closest one of the week, honestly. It could have been a little dicey between you and Beans there, but Joe Mixon did not perform to make it as close as it could have been.
If Trevor just had a decent game, she would have got me.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the Jaggers.
Y'all were literally like 50-50 almost
like the
till
whole
Sunday
time.
night. Yeah, that was
crazy.
I know.
What is going on?
I was watching that whole Bengals-Browns game just hoping Joe Mixon didn't get... Like, he got 1 catch, and I was, like, livid. I was like, come on, man.
Like, when he was up 60 points, he's like, oh, my God, I'm irrationally scared of Devin Singletary. Oh,
yeah.
no.
Dude, he was about to drop 50 on me. My heart was pumping.
Never so happy to see some other P run in my life. Get a couple carries.
Honestly, that's a sentence I don't think I'll ever hear again in my life.
True.
I was never so happy to see some
Brand new sentence.
Yeah, I mean, Dalton and B-Way secured their 3rd win of the season by being the 2nd highest scoring team, 136. Of course, it was against me, but it's fine because, you know, my schedule's been so hard.
That's kind of the game that stood out really this week.
Yeah. Well, the other person that stood out, I think, was Spencer.
Yep.
Putting a whopping 161.
I was looking at it. He was on record watch there for a minute.
Without Patrick Mahomes, too.
Without Patrick Mahomes, with Cortland Sutton basically AFK the entire game.
Yeah. I mean, A.J. Brown had 3 touchdowns in the first half. I'm pretty sure he should have had another one, but got, like, dragged down pass interference and didn't get the catch, obviously. And his team just went crazy. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure A.J. Brown, Alvin Kamara, and Nick Folk outscored either 1 or 2 teams this week. And they were all on Spencer's lineup. Yeah, he started Mac Jones and Cortland Sutton and still scored 160 points. Like,
it's insane,
dude.
It's insane.
God. And somehow this game, I felt bad for Becca because I was like, oh, she's going to score a lot of points and just get slaughtered. But she did end up scoring 10th, so it's like, well, I guess you're kind of expected to lose at that point. But, you know, it's...
Yeah.
Well, she does not have the hardest schedule yet either.
When you look at her team, it doesn't even look bad. I mean, I think she has a decent roster. She's got a lot of stock in Tampa Bay with that Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, but like she just needs Jonathan Taylor to come through and be the guy he was last year for her. And she would be right back on track.
He has been a large disappointment.
They just traded Hines
Very unexpected.
today, so.
Yeah, he should get more work, but who knows?
Yeah, and I think Steele losing is a bit of note, I guess. Like he is the highest scoring team still, although
And is now in 8th.
Those 2 games definitely skewed it. I meant to do this earlier. I was going to check the median for everyone's scoring to see like if the average, like to see his averages. I still may do it afterwards and just post it in Discord while I'm waiting for this thing to upload.
I mean, he still scores well most weeks. Like he got 124 this week and lost.
Yeah, that was unlucky.
But
So the crazy
that's
thing
fantasy.
is that we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, and 3 teams in the league.
It is a close race. I mean,
and then there's like 4, 3, and 5 teams. I
Yep.
think that's crazy.
Yep.
yeah, and 5 and 3 is not even locked in the playoffs, really.
It's not
No,
really.
especially
Yeah.
with this many teams this close. Like it's just
Realistically, I think 7 wins is locked.
Well, let's not talk about how I got in the playoffs last year with 6 wins.
That's what I mean. I said locked.
Yeah.
Locked. It's like
Yeah.
if you get 7 wins, like you should be good to at least
Yeah.
make it. And once you make it, you're kind of
with 8 teams
once
making
you're
it.
in.
Going 500 should definitely be enough.
yeah. I mean, yeah. And obviously, Alex made it with 6 wins last year.
6 and 8, maybe.
I think I was 7 and 7 and made semifinals. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
it's-
11-3 and got first rounded so far. Love to see
Happens
that.
when you run
I
into
mean-
the Finns, baby.
yeah, there's like the fact that our top team is 6 and 2 is pretty nice. There's no real juggernaut. I mean, I think the momentum's leaning towards Spencer now because of his crazy week, but like, there's no real.
Yeah, there's no like
Juggernaut.
clear best team in the league. I don't think.
Sharksy was at the beginning for sure, but she started to fall off as Josh Allen's done sussy things sometimes, like this week, like the Dolphins game a few weeks ago. Like he had a shitload of passes in that game, just not a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah,
And we're going to end up looking back at these standings in like 3 weeks, and they're going to be totally different.
Yeah. I even thought about like going through and like grading our power rankings, like how we were doing so far, just like to shit talk Wyatt if I was higher. But then I was like, dude, these are literally not going to reflect anything at the end of the year.
And I mentioned it in the Discord today. The predictions could be playing the long game. Like you never
Yeah.
know. The,
I mean,
the
we
standings
did-
could shake out closer to the predictions
it
for the end of
was
the year.
it was a projection for the whole season, not the
That's
first
right.
6 weeks. So
I mean, the
So-
more games Steele loses, the better our thing looks. Because mostly the 2 that were really bad
we're stealing
Sharksy, and
And
Becca,
Becca.
or 3. Yes, the 3 that were bad. So if Becca just like gets herself a little boost, if Steele keeps griefing, then we're good to go.
Keeps griefing by being the highest scoring player in the league.
He's just catching everyone on a bad week.
Oh man,
Yeah, he
poor
really
guy.
is. It's rough. I think there's the one week where he scored like 130 and lost to Sharksy.
Yep. Did we talk about every matchup?
I think so.
Biz took down Sharksy because of Josh Allen being
Oh
bad.
yeah, and Business team had a nice week too. I mean, Dak Prescott, I think, is a big story right now.
Yeah,
He looked great.
he's mad.
Yeah,
I'll talk a little bit about
The
my
defense is not
matchup.
bad.
Oh, sorry.
Hmm?
I'll talk a little bit about my matchup with Beans. It's an interesting matchup because last year this was the targeting matchup.
Dude, that's what I thought. It was the targeting matchup, and you beat her by like 0.1.
And I only
Yeah.
beat her by like a fraction of a point. So this week I know I had to bring it. Started Tua instead of Murray because she had Waddle, obviously a respected player. And the Dolphins receivers were the story of that game.
Yeah,
That matchup, I mean.
yeah, it was
So-
really close.
Yeah. Well,
T-Law.
speaking of Tua, I think it's time to start talking about the studs of the week.
I
And
think
I'm
it
going to
is.
start us off with the Hawaiian. What is his nickname? The Hawaiian what?
Throwing
remember.
Samoan.
Throwing Samoan. That's what it is. The throwing Samoan himself, Tua Tagovailoa.
Or the left arm of God, if you prefer that.
Yeah, I mean, he had like 400 yards and 3 pass touchdowns, so he popped off.
Should have been
You know.
4. There was a Trent Sherfield touchdown called back at like the 1 yard line. That was a touchdown. They just didn't give it to him.
Tragic. Yeah, but I mean, like, he had that one crazy game against Baltimore, but since then he's been pretty average, and then he got injured. So it was nice to see. And the Lions' defense is just fucking terrible.
It is so
But
bad.
it was nice to see them really pop off. So to me, Tua is one of the studs of the week. Give us, Alex, your stud of the week.
So I had Miami's receivers mentioned as one of my studs of the week, but I really think this was just a week of the running back. Like, we had so many good running backs as studs this week. Like, two specifically, or not two on Spencer's team, but two of my studs of the week are on Spencer's team. That's Alvin Kamara and A.J. Brown. Just because they were so dominant. And, you really couldn't lose after those two guys scored 60 points together on the same roster.
6 touchdowns.
It was
Almost
over.
70 points.
He
Yeah.
could have probably
Actually, maybe
played,
over 70. Yeah.
he probably could have played all waivers and them two and still won.
Yeah.
So
Dude.
those are my two highlighted studs of the week. It's AJ
Those
Brown,
two
Alvin
plus
Kamara.
Nick Folk putting up 21 as a kicker.
And he had Saints defense scored 16 as a defense.
Yeah.
I had Spencer as a stud of the week.
Yeah.
Spencer.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Wyatt, give us one of yours.
Well, I'm just going to name the other 3 of the 5 skill positions that I said had 3 touchdowns this week. That is Tony Pollard showing Jerry Jones that he's probably better than Zeke because Zeke's kind of washed.
Whoa, that's Alex's boy. Chill.
Did you see what Jerry Jones said, too? He was like, yeah, Zeke's our
Yeah,
guy,
he's like,
even though
we
Pollard's
go-
playing great.
We go by Zeke. And I'm like, bruh. And then another one was Deontay Foreman, who got 3 touchdowns. And then my personal top stud of the week, just because of what he did in the game, is Christian McCaffrey with a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, and receiving touchdown. It was insane to watch.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everyone's studs of the week are those guys, plus Derrick Henry. I think he didn't get 3 touchdowns, but he did have 35 fantasy points.
He had 200 yards.
For his 4th game in a row against the
Against the
Texans, he had 200 yards.
That man
He has
owns
6 his whole
the
career.
Texans.
He came in
owns
and
them.
helped out his rookie quarterback, too, with that 200-yard performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dalton's 2 running backs, Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard combined for, I think, 67 points.
Yeah.
It was really fun to play against. I really had a great time. It was fantastic.
He was
I had
due for one of
CMC, and
those.
they showed me up, and I'm like, fuck.
B-Way and Dalton were due for a week like that.
That's
It
true.
was a ticking time bomb.
I'm happy for him. They deserve it. Now, we've kind of gotten all the positivity out of it. Let's talk about the duds. Wyatt, give us a dud of the week.
My dud of the week, I'm gonna go throw out Daniel Jones just because people were talking about him being a good fantasy quarterback just because of his rushing upside. Like against the Jags, he had 100 rushing yards or whatever. And then this week against Seahawks, who didn't have a great defense in the beginning of the year, but have kind of picked it up throughout the season. He did not have a great game. I don't think he had a touchdown. He threw a pick, so he was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's
not good.
an interesting one because he didn't start for anybody in fantasy.
Yeah, that's true.
And he did. He still had 9 points, which is pretty bad, but it's not that bad. I'm pretty sure Matt Stafford's had 3 games under 9 points.
I have a bust of the week this week who's got less points and started at quarterback.
Uh
Give it.
oh, this is my
I
other.
think he's on my list too.
Yeah,
So I'm going to go with my other bust of the week, actually. My bust of the week is just the Raiders' offense in general. A.K.A.
was on mine,
Devontae Adams for Travis and Josh Jacobs.
and
The
Derek
Raiders-
Carr.
The Raiders did not get across the 50-yard line until it was 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter of that game, which is just abysmal. I picked
And
the
Derek
Raiders.
Carr had been benched by that point, by the way, for Jared Stidham.
Yep,
and
that game was doomed.
Yeah, so my bust of the week is just literally the Raiders' offense.
Yeah, between Derek Carr playing like shit, Devonta Adams had the flu until Thursday or Friday. They didn't even know he was going to play. So I assumed he wasn't going to have a big game, but he had negative 0.1 points until the fourth quarter. We had 1 rush for negative 1 yards.
And then he got 1 catch for 3 yards.
Yeah.
And these last couple of weeks, Josh Jacobs has really been carrying you, so I know that hurt.
Yeah, I knew he was going to come. I knew he was
He was
due
bound
for a come down game.
Yeah, he was bound to come back to earth a little bit.
For both of them to just shit the bed that much on the same week was pretty rough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean Dalton's kicker also got 0. Daniel Carlson on with the Raiders. Hunter Renfrow. Did you start Renfrow this week?
I did. He had
what,
1
2
catch
points?
for 6 yards.
1.1 points. Nice. Yeah,
Yep, he
the
was on
Raiders-
my list.
The Raiders are brutal.
Cortland Sutton, we talked about him earlier, had like 1.9 or something.
Yeah, I mean my official dud of the week was Trevor Lawrence though.
Yep.
He's been a top 8 fantasy quarterback, and he scored less than 7 points.
Granted, the Broncos D is pretty good, but he definitely should have had more points.
Yeah, like the Broncos defense is good. And like, so if you would have told me like he got like 12 points, I'd be like, okay. But maybe it's because we watched the game so closely too, and seeing how bad the picks were.
It was bad.
And like the touchdown he threw was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But it was pretty clear that ETN, who could have been a stud of the week, mentioned, but there were just so many good running backs this week. ETN was carrying the team, and it was rough for Trevor.
And he pretty much cost Beans the win. Like, she was coming into this week pretty much expecting 15 points at least. And that would have got her the dub. So, like, it's just tough.
Yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the way of fantasy. All right, I mean...
We go into waiver pickup of the week?
Yeah, we can do waiver pickup. There's a few to me that stand out.
Yeah.
Alex, I know you want to talk about one, I'm sure.
Yep. So I pretty much swapped tight ends with B-Way and Dalton. I dropped Gesicki last week. They dropped Kyle Pitts. I was third on the waiver wire, picked him up, scored a TD this week. And
had a good amount of yards.
sure,
Other than just the
B-Way and
TD.
Dalton are kind of punching the air, but, we take those.
Dalton's like,
my
fuck
waiver
that
pickup.
guy. I don't give a fuck.
That's my waiver wire pickup of the week. Kyle Pitts, baby. I don't know how he was on waivers, but he was.
My waiver wire pickup of the week also involves Dalton and BOA. They picked up Justin Fields and threw him in there, and he got like 26 points, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's very good for a streaming quarterback.
Like the decision to start Justin Fields over Aaron Rodgers is not easy.
That's
Just
a
'cause of
tough
the name
decision,
brand.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Justin Fields has arguably been better in fantasy the last few weeks. So, like, statistically, it's probably an easy choice. But to say you're starting Aaron Rodgers over the guy that couldn't complete 10 passes until, like, week 5, or you're starting the guy who couldn't complete 10 passes until week 5 over Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fields' rushing that they've been letting him doing has definitely upped his fantasy value. Because before that, he was basically just handing the ball off to Montgomery or Herbert and just watching. But I think he had like 60 yards rushing in that game and got 2 pass touchdowns. So he did
they're
pretty
letting
well.
him throw in the red zone, too, which I think helps. Because, like, they were so one-dimensional for a while where it was just like, once they get to the red zone, they don't trust Justin Fields. They don't trust their receivers. They don't trust Cole Kmet. So it's like, okay, we're just going to run the ball. It's going to get stuffed, or Khalil Herbert, who's or whichever one, David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, one of them's going to get stuffed.
Yep.
We're going to get a field goal. But I think them passing in the red zone has been pretty nice, especially for Fields. The only other waiver wire mention I would have is Tyler Algier. I think he was waiver wire pickup a week or two ago for Wyatt. Wyatt dropped him, and he got picked up by Ag Mills and had 16 points. Pretty
Nice.
solid week.
Pretty good.
I think those are like the only 3 that were.
Yeah, those are the notables.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram, I think, got picked up, but
He got less
injured
than a
really
point.
early. Yeah. I did pick up Tennessee defense, I guess. 9 points. Respectable,
Not bad.
but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Fields, Pitts, and Algier are like the 3 clear ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, and finally, the manager of the week, our last award. I'm curious if you guys are giving it to who people probably expect.
I think there's a clear favorite for manager of the week, and it's Spencer, obviously. But, no buts. It's Spencer.
I actually didn't pick Spencer. I went with a bit of a dark horse, basically just because of what we were just talking about, how Dalton and B-Way started Justin Fields over Aaron Rodgers. It's a gutsy decision, and it paid off for him. I mean, it didn't end up mattering in the matchup, but it still was a good decision.
Yeah, those are the only two names I had written down.
What about your boy starting Tua over Kyler?
If it wasn't the Lions' defense,
It's not manager of the week worthy, but it's notable.
I think if it wasn't the Lions' defense,
If he wasn't playing a Pee Wee League defense, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean that defense is just so fucking. It's like what is the conference with like Oklahoma? Well, is that it's not? Is it the Big 12?
Big 12.
The Big 10?
Yeah, it's the Big 12.
The Big whatever. It's like they literally have one of those defenses out there.
And Kyler Murray hasn't been good all year anyway, so.
Yeah, I think it was with Spencer scoring 161, and to move into first place, I think he's
Definitely
probably the clear winner. But yeah, Dalton Mbue also had a great week. I'm sure Reeves will get pissed that we didn't mention him. Good job, Reeves.
What did he do that was special?
Just scored a lot of points.
Okay, gotcha.
This show has been pretty keen on shitting on Reeves. Wasn't the week where he popped off? I think Dalton and B-Way were the guests.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, we should give it to Reeves. But no, fuck that. We're not giving it to Reeves.
That did happen.
So, yeah, he's an honorable mention, I guess.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. I mean,
all right.
Any last words on the awards before we move on to our topic?
No, I'm ready for some degeneracy, baby.
I'm all degeneracy.
Bet. So this week we thought about we're thinking about topics. The three of us are, whether we actually bet real money or just wagers or whatever, we are gambling degenerates, as some would call it. We are all, I'd say we're all pretty in touch with the Vegas odds and that whole scene. So we thought we'd give a bit of a primer to some people who don't have any experience with it. Just to like when you hear oh yeah, Eagles plus 12 or Eagles minus 12.5 over under plus 45.5 or whatever. What does that mean? And maybe just look at some ways how we make decisions on who to gamble on. Not to say that we're that good, but we're legit.
No, we're the best.
Yeah, we're the best.
We the best music.
So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll start
I have something specific that
okay, yeah, give us something specific.
This week Vegas really got in my head. So Florida Georgia was this past weekend. I think we're all Florida fans here. I don't know about you.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously a tragic outcome. But the spread at the beginning of the week was a 22-point spread. So 22 points for the Dogs. That's what they were getting. And it just seems too close to what actually happened. And when game day came around, the spread changed to 23.5 so that Vegas was covered. They knew exactly what the score was going to be. And the same thing
happens
happened
all the time, dude.
It's insane.
But specifically, the same thing happened on Monday night with that Cincinnati game where it was at 47, and then the same day they put it right down to 45 on game day, and that was the exact score. I was like, are you freaking kidding?
Dude, sometimes they're especially with those college games where you see because the scores are so far apart.
Yeah, the spread's 37 and the team wins by 36, and you're just like, what?
Yeah. So we were talking about this at Florida Georgia, right? Because we told my mom and I were talking about it with Mark, and Mark's like, "Yeah, I heard the Bulldogs are favored pretty hard," and I was like, "Yeah, they're minus 22.5." And I was like, "What does that even mean?" It's she was like, "Why are the Gators favored?" I was like, "They're not. The Bulldogs are minus 22.5." She's like, "Why are they minus if they're favored?" I'm like, "Mom." They have to take away points to make it even, okay? That's what the minus means. And then, yeah, I think the line that I saw ended at 22.5, and it was 22.
Okay.
And I literally pointed at it after the game, and she's like, "How do they do that? There's no way." It's they're just really good at their jobs.
Yeah.
That's how they take people's money so much.
They do it a lot.
It's ridiculous. That was just a personal anecdote for me where I was watching those two lines closely and they just hit exactly. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
When you guys make betting decisions, I guess. What do you look like? Do you like betting on closer matchups that you think there's a clear favorite, or on widely spread matchups that you think the line is just off on? I guess. Do you have a preference?
I usually like to go for more of the closer matchups that I think are just like this week. One of the ones I would like a lot is the Falcons against the Chargers. They're getting 3 points. They're at home. They've looked pretty decent for the most part. The Chargers have looked pretty iffy a lot. So I like that. Like when it's less than 6 points is when I usually like to look at them and see if there's anything that I disagree with on the lines or just something that I like. But when it's like 12.5 or 13.5, it feels so unpredictable because you could have it like in my pick'ems this week. I had the Bills minus 10.5, and they were looking like they were going to win. They were up by like 17 the whole time, and then the Packers get a garbage time touchdown to make it a 10-point game, and I lose that last second. So that just feels so bad all the time.
That's interesting because I think I'm more of just like a gut guy. Like I like to look at the lines. I like to look at the games. If there's a game I like and I'm like, hey man, I really think this is going to be an upset, or hey, I really think this is not going to be a high scoring game, I'll look at the overs and the unders and stuff. Like for example, this Monday Night Football game coming up, Baltimore, New Orleans. I'm hammering the under on that game, bro. And I don't know, I just like it. Like I'm more of a gut guy. Where I just like the game, I'll take the line that I like.
I respect it. That's like the natural way to go, where it's like less robotic. I mean, one thing I like to look for is home underdogs.
Yep.
Generally in Vegas, it kind of varies by season, but normally it's around the home team gets about 2.5 points. It also depends on the team. Like I think Buffalo probably gets a full 3 Seattle gets a full 3.
Or the Chiefs.
It seems like the Rams probably get 1.5 to 2 because their home stadium sucks. It's
True.
always filled with away fans. Yeah, I think the home. I don't, and I always tell myself like I don't even know if this matters. Like I don't even know if being home matters unless you're one of those like 5 teams with a great stadium. But it's like the Jags are home dogs this week.
That was another one that I was gonna say. I hate saying that I like it because usually when I'm like thinking the Jags are gonna win, they just don't because it's the Jags. But I feel like we could win that. Probably should win that. But,
The issue to me is the line is 1.5, right? It basically means the Raiders are favored by about 1 point on a neutral field.
It's not even worth betting at that point. You might as well go money line.
Yeah, because it's like the chance that it's separated by exactly 1 point is so low. So you might as well bet the money line on that one.
And the Jags lines this year have honestly, some of them have been really strange. Like Vegas does not know what to make of the Jags.
Like I think the Giants are better than the Raiders, right? I mean, would y'all agree?
yes.
Yes.
So why are we favored against
The Giants and not the Raiders. Doesn't make
at
sense.
home? Like I don't.
In this game, the over under that I see at least is 47.5.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a 48.
And I think it'll be over that because both defenses are struggling.
Yeah.
Raiders defense is one of the worst.
I'm hammering the under on Jags Las Vegas.
Really?
Because I just think both teams are trash.
Damn, got them.
But the Jags, every game that the Jags have been in, it's been coming down to the fourth quarter and like one score. I'm not sure that the Raiders are even going to score in this game. The Jags are going to at least put up 7 or 10 points. Probably more than that. But I'm just saying this has the potential to be like a super low scoring game. Just like a shit fest. Like this game has the potential to be like a shit fest. Especially coming off the Raiders game last week.
I don't know, man. On one hand, I could see Josh Jacobs just going off. But I think, if we're breaking down the game, I think Tyson Campbell versus Devonta Adams, this is going to be really interesting because Campbell's been amazing this year.
Yeah, he's been great.
And, I'm just, this game I had to stay away. I'm like, I don't want to know what either of these teams.
I can't say I always stay away from Jags games, but I almost always stay away from Jags games because it's really hard to not bet with my heart, and that always bites you in the ass.
It does. You can't bet on your favorite team. You just
No.
can't.
Another line that I did like this week that I just don't get is the Seahawks. I know we talked about this a little bit in the gambling thread. I have it at Seahawks are +2
Yep.
at Arizona, which means basically they say it's a pick'em. This is not a pick'em on a neutral field. I'm sorry, the Seahawks are substantially better. Like I don't.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't get it either.
They've
You
been
get
lighting
Seahawks money
teams
line
up.
at +114. The over/under is 50.5. I think it's a little high.
Yeah, I think it'll be under that, but I feel like the Seahawks will win pretty easily.
I think Seahawks +2 is a good bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I should explain when we say money line, it just means like you're picking the game just who's going to win.
Just straight
where
up.
the spread is the points they do to try and even it up. So like if you pick an underdog by the spread, you're actually not going to get very good odds because the whole goal is to even it out. But if you pick the underdog money line, you're going to get a lot better odds because you're not expected to win.
And going back to what I look for in bets and stuff like that, when I'm doing my pick'ems and stuff, I'll look at recent games. Like if it was an emotional game the game before, usually you have a come down off that, or if there's a history between the two teams, like how the Colts can't win in Jacksonville, or McVay can't beat Shanahan, stuff like that. Is when there's trends like that, you can usually count on them for the most part. So I definitely try to look at those too.
Yeah, do you remember I sent you that book thing in the PDF, the massive 600-page thing?
Yeah.
So I didn't read it in detail, but I
skimmed through it a little bit.
And one thing I've been using from it this year is called rest differential. Basically, the idea that teams with more rest do better as time goes on. That's just the statistical likelihood. Again, and that's against the spread too. That's not even just straight up.
Yeah.
So I've been using rest differential this season to try and look at teams where they play on Thursday. It's actually pretty important. It's a whole
3 extra days of rest.
Yeah, it's pretty huge, especially if they have injuries or whatever. So that's just a little thing, but
yeah,
I would not expect most people to know that. Let's talk about some lines. We kind of did a little bit. Any lines that stand out to you for this week, or Super Bowl odds or anything like that?
So just to play a little devil's advocate with Alec, I actually like Tennessee +12.5 versus Kansas City.
Me too. Me too.
I think Tennessee is one of those teams where they always beat the teams that they should beat, but then when it comes to these big games like this, it's always kind of a toss-up with them. They're either going to play really bad or they're going to play up to their competition. I just think Derrick Henry's been on fire the last few weeks. He's going to get something done. I just don't think they're going to get blown out. 12 points actually isn't that much, but it just seems like a lot in this game with two good teams. Tennessee's been in the playoffs for the last couple of years now with Kansas City. They know them. So I just think 12.5 is a lot to give Kansas City.
I don't hate that one.
Yeah, I had that one as well. I think the under is also a possibility. It's 46.5, which is right where I would expect it to be. But I think the Titans control the pace of the game so well.
Especially if they have Tannehill.
Yeah, I literally have Titans 12.5 plus 12.5 if Tanny plays.
Yeah, if Malik Willis is playing again, they're gonna get shit on.
If Malik Willis is playing, I think you hammer the under for sure. Mm-hmm. But even with Malik Willis, I think because they have Derrick Henry and who's the backup, Hilliard, who also looked decent when he's played this year, they can keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, which I think is huge in some of these games. That was
the biggest thing.
Yeah, I just think Andy Reid and that team, their defense hasn't been great, but I just think they won't let Derrick Henry just win the game. Mm-hmm. They're not going to let Malik Willis throw the ball 10 times.
Yeah, what I was thinking is what's the real bad scenario, and it's I could see a game where the Chiefs stomp, we feel like they stomped and they win by 10. For 11 points. Just kind of the Bills did this week against the Packers. Where it's the Bills were definitely the better team the whole game.
Yeah.
And yet they only won by 10 in a when they were minus 10.5. So yeah, that's one that I saw.
I
I also like.
I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, by the time we get closer to this game that the line gets a little bit smaller.
There's action currently on Kansas City minus 12.5 on FanDuel. That's where the action is. It's down to minus 112. So people are actually betting on Kansas City more.
So it might get bigger.
Yeah, it might get bigger.
It may reach 13.5 by that time.
Oh.
I don't know how. I'm curious how you feel, Alex. I sort of like the Dolphins line.
I don't have it as one of mine.
At Chicago.
-5 at Chicago. Okay.
So that means they're favoring Dolphins by 7.5 on a neutral field. 7.5, 8 points. And I feel like they are that good, especially with Bradley Chubb, which we didn't talk that much because he's, it's a defensive player. But that's a huge addition that happened today at the trade deadline.
Yes. My only hesitancy on that is the Dolphins are a team that really struggles against the run, like in all forms. So whether it's coming from Justin Fields or it's coming from Montgomery or who's the other guy? Herbert. Yeah. That just concerns me a little because Chicago's a running team and they know how to run the ball. And they are a tough defense notoriously. So, but -5 I think is doable. I'm not the person to ask on this line. Like I said, I never look at Dolphins lines. So
I also had the over for them. It's 45.5 what I'm seeing right now.
That's a good over.
Yeah.
That's a good
over. I feel like that's an over, especially if they are bad against the run. That's how the Bears score. And if the Dolphins don't score on this team, that's a really bad sign.
Yeah, with them getting rid of Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith, I feel like the Dolphins are going to score pretty much whenever they want, and the Bears are going to run a lot because that's the only thing they can do, really. But they did get Claypool, so maybe they start trying to threaten the deep ball a little more, but I just don't think they will.
I think you can easily expect 28 points from the Dolphins, and then whatever the Bears give you on top of that, and then hope for some little extra. But I think it's easy over at 45.
I think like 28-21 sounds right, or like 30-24 or something like that. Those sound right to me, which is why that's why the over stands out so much.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We have played a lot of close games. Not a lot of close games, but like there's been a couple teams where we played down to their competition, like the Steelers. If we go back to last year, like every bad team we almost lost against, and we beat the good ones. So it's like
it's one of those teams you play to level your competition.
Yep.
Yeah, one last line I was looking at this week that I think is probably a lock for me that if I could bet, I would bet is the Vikings at -3.5. Talking about, like I was just talking about, when there's a super emotional game like the Commanders had last week against the Colts, Heineke came back and did the game-winning drive. They win by 1 point with like 10 seconds left. Usually you have a little bit of a come-down after that, and I think I might have a little bias, but I think the Vikings are a lot better than people are giving them credit for. Like, they're 6-1, and people are saying, like, oh, they haven't had a great schedule. They only win by, like, one possession or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't know, that seems like a really doable line for them.
That's what good football teams do is they win in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think if their one loss wasn't the Lions, it was the Lions.
No, their one loss is the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
They got beat by the Eagles by a good amount.
Yeah, and it's like the thing is they can have they play good against bad teams. They're playing against the Commanders, who are not that good, right?
They're pretty bad.
I mean, they're 4-4.
Heineke gives them a spark, though.
Yeah.
They're like yeah.
Heineke is definitely better than fucking Carson Wentz. That dude is trash.
And like part of me wants to bet the over. It's 43.5. Seems okay because like the Vikings, but like I don't know, the Vikings don't score as much as I feel like they should. I don't know. Have y'all looked at division odds? Because I just glanced through them today and found some pretty interesting ones.
Oh goodness! Can I do one more game before we get to division odds?
Of course.
So my last game that I like is in the AFC East. New York Jets versus Buffalo over 47 points. I love that line because Josh Allen and Zach Wilson are both kind of known as gunslingers. Zach Wilson's the newbie in the division. He's going to come out against the Bills and try to sling that thing. Whether he's throwing picks or not, he's throwing it down the field. So I think there's a good chance that this game goes over and the Jets can actually score some points on the Bills. So, and the Bills are going to run it up every single game. So I just like that over. I don't look at the line or anything. I just looked at the over and was like, I like that.
The Bills might score 47 or whatever by themselves.
Exactly. Exactly. So you can bet on that.
Interesting things about this line. Currently, the action is on Bills minus 12.5. It's down to minus 115. It is also on under 47.5. Is minus 115 as well as for the.
Okay.
It's interesting that the action is on the under because I kind of feel like you. I feel like the Bills could win like 40-13. Because they've had a lot of injuries in the secondary, but they're still the better team. I feel like.
Well, also the Jets defense hasn't been bad, so I could see it, I guess.
It's a
they
gut
faced
pick.
like 4 backup quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, that's true.
And they faced Aaron Rodgers, who's been horrible. Like I feel like they haven't faced that many good quarterbacks. They haven't played the Dolphins yet. Like we don't even have that for sample size.
The Jets?
They played. No, they did, but it was Skylar. Was it Skylar Thompson or Teddy?
It was a little bit of both.
It was both, yeah.
Yeah, so
They
they're not
put up
even. So again, they're
42
not
on
playing
us.
starters.
They put up 42 points on us. Jets.
Yeah, that was
with
the game we were
Brees.
at the Jags games, and they randomly scored like 20 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. And maybe Josh Allen shits the bed again like he did this week and just randomly starts chucking picks. Which I still don't get. Like, why are you taking that? Whatever. I feel like the NFL is so bad.
So weird this year, dude. It's so weird.
Even the good teams are kind of bad sometimes, except for the Eagles.
Eagles are pretty good.
Yeah, the Eagles and the Cowboys, if they keep this up, are pretty good.
Yep.
That's going to be a really good matchup in a few weeks.
All right, so
Cowboys
I
beat 'em.
wanted to go over some division winners because I found a few that I thought were really interesting. So right now, Bills are minus 1,000 to win their division. Dolphins are plus 950. No, I'm just going to wait till someone says anything interesting.
There's no way the Bills don't win.
There's still people on the street saying Patriots are going to end up second in this division. So
No.
Patriots are plus 3,200.
It's
win the
Bills,
division.
Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, for sure.
Since Brady's been out of the AFC East, it's just been such a weird division.
Yeah. AFC North. Ravens minus 320. Bengals plus 370.
I think. Well, I don't know. Since Chase just went out for probably a month, maybe longer, it's probably the Ravens division. But I think if the Bengals still had Chase, the Bengals could definitely win. But with how bad they just looked on Monday night, it's probably the Ravens to take.
This is the Ravens division. There's no question about it, boys. Ravens got this thing locked up. Bengals looked horrible against the Browns the other night. Joe Burrow looked like he was seeing ghosts out there. So I don't know what was going on. But Ravens locked this division up already, as far as I'm concerned.
Plus, I know the Ravens' next 4 games are pretty easy. I know the Jags are in there somewhere. And they just added Roquan Smith.
Yeah. He's led the league in tackles since he's come into the league.
He's definitely good.
He's a beast.
Let's see. AFC South, Titans minus 280, Colts plus 450, Jags plus 600. And don't forget the Texans down at plus 7,000.
7,000. I feel like the Titans should definitely be a heavier favorite.
I agree. I don't understand how the Titans are less of a favorite than the Ravens.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
And
there's no way the Colts do it, and probably no way that I feel like the Jags probably have a higher chance than the Colts.
I agree.
I agree also.
But I feel like the Titans are going to win this division by 4 games.
Chiefs minus 550, Chargers plus 500. That seems pretty standard to me.
Yeah.
I hate the Chargers this year. I'm fading the Chargers every chance I get.
Chiefs are winning. Easy
Eagles
peasy.
minus 370, Cowboys plus 400. Cowboys are
This is a
one
juicy
game
one.
behind. Yeah, this is a juicy one.
Cowboys are 6-2. Eagles are 7-0.
So 2 games back. Where can they make that up on the Eagles' schedule?
One against the Eagles. They have one more game against them. If they lose that, they're fucked. There's no chance.
I mean, they might be kind of fucked in general because the Eagles' schedule is a literal cakewalk.
It's literally butt cheeks.
It's literal butt cheeks.
We knew
But they
that
still
from
have
the
2
beginning.
games against the Giants, right? And the Giants look okay. I could see the Giants taking maybe 1 at home.
Maybe.
If Dallas can take 2 against the Giants, and they would be if they can take 2 against the Giants and the Eagles lose to the Giants and Cowboys,
It's
and there's no other
possible.
losses, they win because they have the division tiebreaker.
But it's
The Giants
possible.
have been in all one-score games until last week when Seahawks kind of just demolished them.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if that's like an indication that they're frauds or not, or they just had an off week. But they're almost like the opposite of the Jags, where they just win all their games in the fourth quarter, and like we just screw them up. Yeah.
Yep. I think these odds are pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys could be a good bet. Like if you just had extra money to throw around.
Especially those Commanders at plus 15,000.
For reference, that's 150 to 1.
That's a
The
lot.
NFC North, Vikings minus 850. No one else is really close. They have a 4.5 game lead on the Packers right now. I think that's pretty much done.
It's
Hey.
strange.
Hey, I don't think it's strange because before the season I put a couple bucks on Vikings over 8.5 wins. We're looking pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah, it's looking excellent.
there's a difference between over 8.5 wins, meaning over 500, and 4.5 games above their division
Yeah, I know.
in week 8.
And what, the Packers have taken that division in how many in the last 10 years?
Like all of them,
10.
probably.
Yeah. So it's just kind of strange.
Now, here's one that I think is interesting. It's
Dude, the NFC South is juicy.
Currently, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are favored at minus 135. My favorite for this division, the Atlanta Falcons, are plus 250. The Saints are plus 400. And the Panthers are down at plus 3,500.
What I hate about this division is you have the Bucks who are underperforming, and then you have 3 bad teams who are all frisky. Like they all want to win. They all want to win games, but
Especially now that Matt Rule's out of Carolina, they look like a completely different team.
Carolina traded away all their best players and they started playing better.
Yeah, I don't
And it's
understand.
They're all frisky teams. I don't know, and I just hate the Bucks this year.
I feel like if I was gonna pick one of these to bet, I would probably pick the Saints.
You like plus 400 better?
I like the plus 400 over the plus 250 because I think the Saints and the Falcons are pretty even, but the Saints just have insane playmakers. If they can get Michael Thomas back, they have Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Chris Olave has been the best rookie receiver in the league. So I would pick that one.
And just not looking at schedule or anything, I'm just more confident in the Saints being able to put a couple wins together than I am the Falcons, to be honest.
Agreed.
Both these teams, I don't get either of these teams. The Falcons have some of the weirdest play calling in the entire league, but the Saints have Andy Dalton at quarterback. And they go from shutting out the Raiders this week to last week. Last week was the Thursday night game where they threw 2 pick sixes at the end of the second quarter. I don't know what either of these teams, and the Bucks are horrible.
They're so bad.
It makes me weekly mention of Tom Brady sucking. It makes me so happy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a weird one. I feel like either the Falcons or the Saints are not even bad bets.
Yeah, so I'm with you right there on Tom Brady. I never thought this day would come. I thought he would end up ending his career, winning a Super Bowl, and just retiring, superhero moment type of thing. This is awesome. This is my dream.
Watching him go down in flames is just so satisfying.
I've lived
So good.
I've lived with Tom Brady in my division for about at least 18 years. I've been a Dolphins fan, and I just love to see him have not even a terrible season. Like, he's not terrible, but like just an off. Like, I just love to see him off.
All right,
last
to
one.
move on from that fantasy depression, the final division, which I also think is really interesting, is San Francisco for the NFC West. San Francisco 49ers are favored right now, minus 140. The Seattle Seahawks are plus 310 with a 6-2 record. The Los Angeles Rams are plus 440. I love the Seahawks at plus 310
Dang. To take the division?
to win the division. Yeah. They're currently the big thing is they don't have the tiebreaker against the Niners right now. But I think and maybe because the Niners they're riding the Christian McCaffrey hype. But in one injury to CMC, and I think the Seahawks are just better.
I don't know. I think the 49ers have
That's
that
hard.
game system set up to where they can pretty much plug in whoever, and he's going to get 5 yards of carry.
And their defense is getting healthier. One thing, real quick, I don't understand how in the fuck the Rams are plus 440. The Cardinals have a better chance of winning that division.
The Rams are bad, dude.
The Rams suck ass.
Both the Cardinals and the Rams are bad.
This is like one of the worst Super Bowl hangovers I think I've seen from it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Maybe besides Cam Newton Panthers.
Oh, that was rough.
Rip.
Oh, God. Reeves, just know I tried to give you some Seattle hype. They weren't about it. All right, we should probably close up real quickly. I want to throw something at y'all. These are conference champion awards, so teams to make the Super Bowl. Cowboys plus 550. Yay or nay?
Nah.
Even if they don't win the division, all you have to do is beat... They could be the second best team in the NFC right now. Then all you have to do is beat one game at Philly.
Nah.
Not even at plus 550?
Nah.
I don't like that.
Cowboys always flame out in the playoffs, dude.
Okay, and then Chiefs plus 340. Same thing.
Yeah.
They may
I'll
not
take
have
that.
home field, but it's one game and you have Patrick Mahomes.
I would take that.
Plus 340 seems really low to me, or really high.
For Chiefs Super Bowl?
Very good odds.
For Chiefs to make the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would take that for sure.
I think that one's
What are the Bills?
The Bills are plus 125.
Oh, okay.
Which that's pretty heavily. The Eagles are plus 195. So the Bills are definitely expected to make it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I had a parlay between those two that was my spicy pick, but y'all shut down my Cowboys pick so much that I guess you won't take plus 2760 on Cowboys
For a
Chiefs Super Bowl.
Cowboy, dude,
Chiefs Super Bowl would be electric, though.
I just can't get behind the Cowboys. They just every time they make it to the playoffs, they look so good. They just flame out.
You know Dak's gonna hurt his finger or something and be out for 4 weeks.
He's gonna fucking break
He
his toenail.
always does it.
Yeah.
All right, fine. You don't have to. You know what? Fine. When the Cowboys make the Super Bowl this year, when it's a Cowboys Chiefs Super Bowl, and I tried to hand y'all 27-1 odds, okay? Just move on. But that's gonna do it for our topic. I hope people enjoyed. If you find this interesting, we do have a gambling thread.
It's called
People
Where
have
Did All
used
My
it.
Money Go?
Yeah, where did all my money go? Some people have used it for not gambling things.
Let's
I may
not do
change the
that.
name to make it gambling related officially, or we could just not use it for non-gambling things. Anyway, we'll close it out.
Go
Move
to
on.
the preview.
We'll do week 9, and Wyatt,
Love this.
you have a huge matchup this week.
We got a heater on our hands, boys. It's me versus the new number 1, Mr. Overlord himself. Right now, just based on the early projections, it's a 50-50 chance. I'm projected to win by 0.3 points. I think it's going to be really close. I am a little lucky in that I'm getting him with Saquon Barkley on a bye, so I will take those. So he's probably going to have to start Henderson from the Rams. Unless he picks up a waiver wire, which we know he's not going to do because he has a 1 transaction on the year or 2 or something. But I think it'll be close.
Yeah, no state one's huge. But I don't know. We'll see. AJ Brown versus Houston could be kind of scary.
Yeah, luckily, if AJ Brown scores, Jalen Hurts scores, so it hurts a little less for me.
That's fair.
But hopefully, Jalen just only throws to Dallas Goedert this week.
Yeah.
We got that New Orleans defense against Baltimore, too, on Monday night. I would watch that game just because I think New Orleans has like a low-key chance of stealing a win there.
I agree, especially if they're still trying to integrate Roquan Smith in.
Mm-hmm.
They do play Monday, right? So it's a little nicer than playing on playing Sunday morning or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah,
kind
I think
kind
it's
of like a similar situation. Lamar Jackson played Miami on a Thursday night football game last year, and our defense just kind of like put him in shambles. And like I guess there's something you can do to Lamar to where he just is scrambled. And I think if any defense can do that, it might be the Saints. So see what happens.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. Banegulwud, you have a Super Bowl rematch coming up.
I have a great matchup this week. Like I've actually been looking forward to this matchup for so long, and it's because I actually have a lot of respect for our fantasy champion. So,
you guys don't laugh after you say that. It ruins the respect.
So the one thing I actually don't respect about this guy is that he changes his team name every single day. Like just stick to one team, bro. Like that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of cringe.
So we're having a matchup here. Not everything is filled out yet. I don't have a kicker in right now, but we're working on that. I have Zeke on bye. I have Najee Harris on bye too, so it's going to be a tough week for me for running backs. I'm going to have to consider maybe Gus Edwards over Mostert since we just made that trade for JWJ. And perhaps I think my lineup's going to be set besides that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it last week, how you have one of the best depth in the league just based on you have really good bench players, so if you get any injuries or anything like that, you're chilling for a little bit.
It's a little deceiving at the moment just because Bateman and Brown haven't played in like 3 weeks. So like, the depth kind of looks like it's more than it actually is. But I'm Gucci. Like I haven't really been struggling to find a starting lineup. You're right.
Yeah,
Agmills does have Buffalo against the Jets, and they could get a lot of turnovers in that game.
Yeah, a couple of things I found interesting. One, he has Tyler Algier on the bench. Tyler Algier's been pretty damn good the last few weeks. I mean, 11, 4, 5, 11, 16. So not that great. But
are you going to start him over Singletary or Montgomery?
Yeah, that's kind of the issue. I didn't even realize his running backs are pretty solid.
Running backs are the only good thing about his roster, pretty much.
Right.
It's funny because I think we criticized his running backs for having Montgomery who shares carries and Singletary who shares carries at the beginning of the year. And the other,
we were.
Also, we've got 3 Buffalo players in this game for Agmills and 4 Miami players right now for me. So it's kind of the
AFC East
matchup too. So yeah, like I said, I have a lot of respect for this guy, but I'm coming for his head this game.
I think if Gus Edwards plays, that'll be huge for you too, because when he plays, he's clearly their number 1 back.
He's one of those guys where I'm afraid to start him.
Yeah,
he plays on Monday night.
Yeah,
he came back, played like 1 game, and then got hurt his second game back. It's like, dude, you gotta. And it's a hamstring injury, which those things linger like crazy. So,
and he kind of seems like
fully healthy.
He's been starting and then winding up questionable, coming back in the game, and then questionable again. So I mean, I have stashed him for so many weeks at this point. I'm gonna have to start him eventually. It's just I can't bring myself to make the decision yet. I don't know. I have Mostert, who's been doing solid for me. Him and Gus Edwards, that's going to be a hard decision.
Yeah, I think it's like him and Kirk. I think are the 2 that could be what you'd be deciding between. I guess my matchup's interesting. Biz and I are playing. She's the only 4-4 team. It just looks so weird. Where it's like the whole league is 5-3 or 3-5, and then she's just kind of right in the middle.
Good spot to be.
I don't know.
I don't know
what to think about her team. I don't like Aaron Jones at all. But
really, I like Aaron Jones more now than I did at the beginning of the season because A.J. Dillon has been such a disappointment, and they're starting to actually give Aaron Jones the ball a little bit more. I feel like he's aight.
I guess he is against Detroit's defense too, so he'll probably get like 72 points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And her receivers are, at least her starting two, are dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think she's starting Naheem Hines this week.
That's tough. I don't know how he's going to do on Buffalo. I mean, they're obviously going to use him some. They just traded away their rookie running back for him.
Yeah.
Who was more of kind of like...
Or they traded Zach Moss. They didn't trade...
They didn't trade James Cook.
They didn't trade
That's
James
my bad.
Cook.
I thought they traded James Cook.
Nah. But yeah, it's... I mean, same thing still applies, though.
He probably won't get too much work in the first game there.
Yeah. I don't know. I also Christian McCaffrey is my best player on bye.
You just really got to hope that your the bust of the week, the Raiders' offense, isn't the bust of next week.
Dude, if the Jags defense shuts them down, that is fucking ridiculous.
I mean, you can't really be mad if it happens.
It's funny because Travis was like, Travis was one of the Raiders like shitting on them before the season,
right.
and
Now
he ends
suddenly
up
my
with
whole
their
team is
receiver
a
and running
fucking
back
Raiders.
and
Yeah,
quarterback.
Travis,
And I'm like,
on the Raiders. I picked the Raiders last week to win, and they freaking got blown out.
The reason that I got Josh Jacobs because I thought it was good value. The reason I hated the team so much is because their defense. I thought their defense was horrible, and their offensive line could have been horrible, but actually they're not bad against the run. So Josh Jacobs looked okay. I never had questions about Devontae Adams. Carr, which I should have, I guess.
I don't know what happened to that team. It's like Josh McDaniels got in there, and the team has regressed 100%. Like, they were way better than this even just last year.
Yeah, I don't get how you
Way
get
better
Devontae
offense.
Adams and your offense just tanks.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah, there's this whole thing about quarterbacks taking a step up when they get a true number one receiver, like Waddle did, and Carr gets Devontae Adams, and he just sucks.
And they got chemistry, too, from college. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Doesn't make any
Is
sense.
Josh McDaniels just that much of, like, a buzzkill, or, like is he just snake bit like that, where he just can't run a franchise, or?
Apparently.
I mean, I watched a few games, and I felt like Derek Carr gets pressured all the time.
Because I know
Not a good
he's
sign.
called some good plays in the past. I have watched many a game Dolphins against Josh McDaniels.
I feel like he's not a bad coordinator because, like, I don't know, his time in Denver was really bad too. But I guess to get off this Raiders train, I think the other really interesting matchup is Reeves versus Sharksy.
Oh,
Apparently,
yeah.
Reeves, without a kicker, is projected pretty heavily, but Sharksy also does not have a tight end playing.
Doesn't have another tight end on her roster either. So
Yeah, didn't she freak out? She picked up Irv Smith last week. Thought it was
But
a great
dropped him.
pickup, and then he got his hurt and dropped.
he got put on IR, and the Vikings traded for Hawkinson. Who
So it'll
Reeves
be
has.
interesting to see who her tight end is. I think it's kind of hard to say in this matchup without seeing that, but I think Reeves is heavily favored right now. Reeves is my number 2 team in the league currently.
This is why Reeves was recommending Steele pick up all those tight ends so that Sharksy can.
Just noticed that?
I did not realize that until just now.
Yeah, he wants people to pick up tight ends.
Sneak tactics.
Dude, the snake, the Alex, we call that the Alex.
Anytime
Agnes.
anyone in the
Agnes.
Discord asks you to do something, it's usually a red flag.
There's
always
an
ulterior
agenda.
motives,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, Reeves' team looks really good.
I
It is.
think Reeves is definitely going to win this game.
Yeah.
No offense to Sharksy.
Dude, if
She's reeling.
Brees,
She's on the ropes.
if Brees Lightning didn't get injured, like his team would just be like he would. I don't even know. It would be crazy.
Yeah, I'd still question T.J. Hawkinson, even when he got traded. Like,
That's the only
Kirk Cousins
question
has
mark.
never been good throwing to tight ends either. Whether that's because the tight ends were bad, or because
He just doesn't throw it to them.
I saw this year he's 30th in pass yards per play and like 33rd in EPA or whatever while throwing to tight ends out of 33 eligible quarterbacks. So he's basically the worst in the league at throwing to tight ends.
Here's a little tidbit for you, though. Kirk Cousins likes white receivers. TJ Hawkinson, white. One of the whitest dudes in the NFL, probably. Him and Thielen as a tandem. Him and Thielen as a tandem with Kirk Cousins, I think they're finally going to break the primetime curse. Next time they're on primetime, Kirk Cousins is going to throw like 3 TDs to Hawkinson.
This dude's saying Kirk doesn't like. Wait, what?
Justin Jefferson's an exception, okay?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, Justin Jefferson's like the
KJ
best
Osborne,
receiver.
Dalvin Cook, and Alexander Madison are all exceptions, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways.
That was a hot take.
That's not a hot take.
I think Reeves should handle that one pretty easily. IMO.
And then the other one, I keep trying to gas up Beans' team, and it kind of just disappoints me every week. She does have Travis Kelce back this week, which is really nice.
Yeah, so add 16 to her projection.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she has Tyler Higbee in right now, so basically add 8.
Well, she has Judy in her flex as a buy.
True. Yeah. This was interesting. I'm curious if Lamar is going to play or if Kirk Cousins is going to play, based on whoever Steele decides to play is going to do worse than the person on the bench. That's just normally how it goes. Although Kirk did play better than
he did.
Lamar this
Kirk
week.
got a rushing touchdown.
He had his fastest speed of his career. He reached 18
I
miles an hour.
I saw that. He's a speedster.
That's great.
White light,
for him.
honestly.
Steele does have the Eagles playing Houston this week, so
it's a great matchup.
That is has a big defense opportunity there. But other
Indianapolis
than that,
defense at New England on the other side, I mean, could be a similar situation. I mean, when those teams meet up, I don't really see a lot of points coming.
And Mac Jones has been so weird this year.
Yep.
By weird, do you mean bad?
Yeah.
The games that Bailey Zappi plays, they'll score like 30, and then the games that Mac Jones plays, they'll score like 17.
But I swear, it's literally like the whole team just plays better when Zappi's in there. Zappi's not even good. It's just
he's worse.
It's like Zappi throws the ball just as poorly, but the receiver has 5 yards of separation instead of 1. It's like, what was it? It was that Monday night game where they were against the Bears.
The Bears.
Mac Jones throws that pick, and it's pretty bad, right? And then Zappi comes in.
And all the receivers are just magically wide open.
Jacoby Myers literally has no one near him on his
I was
touchdown.
like, what?
I'm like, what the fuck is this? Also, the fact that Jacoby Myers is scoring touchdowns this year, when I stashed him the entire year last year and he scored
crazy.
one, pisses me off. Anyway,
I was not expecting him to come out and have like a great year.
Another big factor in this matchup is Nick Chubb is on a bye. That's a big buy for Steele.
That's a huge player for Steele. And Mark Andrews is still injured. And those are his top 2 picks.
I also do think T-Law should have a bounce back this week against a very, very bad Raiders defense. So hopefully gets more than 7 for Beans.
I think she's probably thinking around 15 at least.
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping against the Raiders, you're hoping for like 21, 22.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And I think you'll get it.
The last matchup we need to talk about is Dalton and B-Way versus Becca. This matchup is pretty important because it kind of like cements one of them as contending for playoffs, and the other one is going to have a really rough time. They're both at 3-5 right now. Currently, the projections have Becca without a defense.
Yeah,
That's going to be interesting to see who she picks up.
In the chat earlier today, she was talking about not picking anybody up because she doesn't want to drop anybody, and I was like, well,
her bench is kind of weird, and I feel like this Jameson Williams is not the player you want if you're a team
she needs
that's
to
struggling.
have Cordarrelle in her IR and Jameson Williams in fucking the void.
Yeah, she does not have enough wins right now
To
be stashing a player like that.
Yeah. Would someone pick him up? Probably.
Is he going to play this year? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I think with 3 wins. So, we try not to like give advice on this show, but like, don't not play a defense when you're struggling for wins, Becca. For the love of fucking God, play a defense.
Oh, that's who she doesn't want to drop? Is Jameson Williams?
Well, she says she doesn't want to drop.
Well, she doesn't want to drop anyone on her bench.
I think Geno is not really droppable. Garrett Wilson's not droppable. Kareem's pretty good. Johnny Johnson's good. It's either Peoples-Jones or Jameson Williams.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
And Peoples-Jones has been consistently mediocre. So, like, is that better than Jameson Williams? Probably.
Dude, like, who even is that? Peoples-Jones.
The wide receiver 2 for
Donovan
the Browns.
Peoples-Jones, yeah.
The Browns.
All right, well, this is a big week, so I'm going to ask, and we've just done gambling. So I'm gonna
One more
ask
thing
you guys,
about that last game is that Dalton's bench is actually, like, looks insane. I know most of those players are on bye, but he's got Michael Thomas, Aaron Rodgers, Jahan Dotson on the bench, and then you go up and look at his starting lineup, and you're like, "What is going on here, dude?" I don't.
He's playing. Yeah, I forgot about this. He's playing 2 Colts receivers, and neither of them are the lead receiver.
Yeah.
with Sam
On an
Ellinger
offense that's just fucking god awful.
against
Sam
the
Ellinger
Patriots
hasn't-
defense, which has been okay.
Oh lord!
This lineup is just all sort of messed up, and it like Mike Gesicki being a highlight in a lineup is tough.
Damn. This is from a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's because we just talked about gambling, and because this week's so interesting, we're going to go through all the games and have. I'm going to put each of you on the record, and we're going to pick each one of these games. You can estimate the score if you have like an idea, but you don't have to. Just pick. So we're going to start with the Super Bowl rematch: Agnos versus Banegulwud.
I mean, I feel like once Banegulwud's got his kicker in there, I feel like he definitely should be the favorite. Agnos has been on the struggle bus this year. He's got Debo on a bye. He's got MG3 on a bye. I mean, maybe Keenan Allen plays at full strength finally. Maybe Matt Stafford doesn't suck this year, but maybe this is a 4-touchdown Taysom Hill game. Who knows? But if I'm betting Banegulwud.
Same. If I'm betting Banegulwud. I mean, I think it's going to be actually like I have a feeling this is going to actually be like one of those games that comes down to like 3 points. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, but I'm going to come out on top ultimately just because I need to. Like I really need to.
I think Keenan Allen is the key to this game. If Keenan Allen continues to do like shit or not play the whole game, it's Bangelwoods for free. I want to bet on Bangelwood. Let's go rapid fire through these. Becca versus Dalton and Bue. Wyatt.
I gotta give it to Becca. We were just talking about how bad Dalton and Bue's lineup looks, and it really does. So I just by default going Becca.
Yep, give me Becca.
Yeah, I don't see another 70 points from 2 running backs, so give me Becca. All right. Bangelwood, give us Wyatt versus Spencer.
Wyatt versus Spencer.
I think this is the match of the week.
5-3, Alex. 6-2, Spencer. I like Alec in this game. I like Jalen Hurts. I don't know actually. Hold on, I just saw Hunter Renfrow in there.
I've got a bunch of receivers that I might pick up, so he might not be in there. Who knows?
Jeez, yeah, the Jamar Chase loss for you really hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Alec. That's my gut.
I'm going to say Saquon being out really hurts Spencer, but Jamar Chase being out really hurts Wyatt. And there's a lot of good matchups on this whole lineup, but I'm going to take Wyatt as well because Spencer has more question marks to me.
Let's
I'm
go.
gonna have to believe in the boys. I'm going Wyatt too.
Let's go.
All right, the other match of the week, Reeves versus Sharksy.
This is gonna be an interesting one. I just want to see the banter.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a top tier banter game. I hope.
But
I'm going to take Reeves in
Definitely taking
a blowout.
definitely taking Reeves. Sharksy's reeling. She's on the ropes right now.
She's on a 2-loss streak currently. And Reeves
She's got
is,
Cooper on a bye. She's starting both Rams receivers, which is a
which includes an
strategy.
injured Cooper Kupp.
That is a strategy.
I just don't know if I trust this team at all.
Definitely
I'm
going
taking
Reeves.
Reeves.
She might. I mean, I don't know if Claypool's going to play, but she might consider putting Claypool in over Robinson.
Agreed.
All right, how about Beans versus Steele? Wyatt?
I gotta go with Beans. Once she puts Travis Kelce up there for Judy, maybe plays Higbee in flex or plays Lazard in the flex if he's healthy. He's been pretty good. She's got a lot of good matchups. Steele's got Chubb on bye. I'm giving it to Beans.
What do you think, Banegulwud?
I'm giving it to Beans as well in the Jalen Waddle factor, baby. Simple as that.
I'm gonna our first dissenting pick of these pick'ems. I'm going to give it to Steele. Steele needs a win. He's on they're both on 2 loss streaks actually. So this game is also huge for who
Yeah, this is a very big
keeps
matchup.
themselves out of the race for the bottom. And I think Steele's kind of just due for one. I like some of the matchups. I think it's if Mark Andrews is healthy, I think it's Steele. If not, it's Beans.
And I just really love Metcalf this year, I have to say, for one of the players on Steele's team. So he's been popping off like crazy.
That's fair.
And the final game is me versus Biz.
I'm gonna. This one's kind of tough.
Yeah, Tom Brady, Jared Goff.
Jesus. I don't know. I think I lean a little towards Biz on this one. Travis has CMC on a bye. The Raiders may bounce back against the Jags. Tom Brady's been bad. Yeah, I'm going to go Biz on this one.
I'm going to flip you. I'm going Travis. I like Michael Carter, and I like Josh Jacobs to bounce back. Back to Michael Carter, I just think a lot of Jets fans think he hasn't gotten the opportunities that he needs, and now that Breece Hall's out, he's really going to be a solid back for them. So I like Michael Carter, and against New York Jets, I mean, Dawson Knox is probably going to have a couple catches. I like Travis. Give me Travis.
I'm going to pick Biz. I picked against myself almost every game that I've ever picked.
That's why you lose, bro.
I'm 5-3. What the fuck do you mean? Why I lose? I have a higher record than you, don't I?
We're tied.
You're tied.
Oh shit! You're right. Fuck. We're all tied. Wait a
I have
minute.
a higher
Oh yeah,
points than
half the
It's a
league
5-3
is 5-3.
squad.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna pick Biz. I think this one is.
Okay.
I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
It'll come down to the last couple players.
Her best player is just just because my number one pick's out, I think, and having JJ against Washington is pretty huge. And it depends on who she gets at kicker, I guess. Plus New England defense. I'm going to pick Biz in a close one. And that is going to do it for episode 9. Yeah,
this week's not coming up.
SimStation Internet Football Podcast. Banegulwud, thank you so much for joining us. It's been fun.
I loved it.
It was a banger.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys don't get addicted to gambling.
The way you looked in the camera was
Don't get addicted to gambling.
Listen, I was not an actor for nothing, okay? I know how to work the audience. All right. Peace out, people.
Rip Lizzo.
Goodbye.
Rip Lizzo. Oh, fuck.
Had to get that off.